So I'm recording. So welcome everyone to another Icehouse podcast. With everything that's going on in the world at the moment and in business, we're all being tasked with being more digitally focused, like doing podcasts and things like that. We realised that we needed to get someone with a bit of expertise. So today I'm very happy to welcome along Sam Ramlu from Method. Hi, Sam.
Kia ora. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Did I say your surname correctly? I'm sorry if I didn't.
Ramlu. Yeah.
Ramlu. Perfect. Yeah. So Sam, we haven't met in person before, but you've done a bit of work, I believe, with the B&Z, and that's how we kind of got introduced to you and your business. But I guess as a starting point, can you give us an overview of Method and your business, and just the top level so everyone knows who you are?
Yeah, sure. And I'll try and keep it top level. We're a creative tech studio, and essentially we create awe-inspiring experiences. And what that means is basically we bring storytelling and tech together to create amazing experiences for people. So that includes everything from exhibitions, websites, to augmented reality, virtual reality. But I guess the key thing for us is it's never tech for tech's sake. There's going to be a reason behind it, and a story, and how we can bring that story to life and actually engage with people. So it's all about making those human engagements and connections, really.
Mm-hmm. And how long has the business been going?
I think it's now 17 years in June, actually. So
oh.
We started when I was really young.
Starting a business when you're 4, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, so sometimes I'm like, holy moly, how am I this old? But also, how's the business this old,
I imagine it would have changed over 17 years.
Yeah, completely. I mean, we started because we saw a real lack, back then digital was mainly web and emails, and actually emails weren't even really a thing, and so we saw a real lack of really exciting experiences, really engaging experiences in New Zealand. We saw a lot of template, cookie cutter sort of things. Mm-hmm. So we were benchmarking against the, international market, and really wanted to bring experiences to life where people were really interested and engaged with spending time online, and what could that look like? Blogs were just starting out and all that. So we started a studio.
And it grew and got bigger.
And it grew, and the rest is history, I guess. Here we are, 17 years later, doing podcasts. Yeah.
Oh, and so your business obviously would have been affected through lockdown, as all of our businesses were. But I guess more people were thinking about being more digital. I mean, where are you now? It's always good to understand where people are. I'm back in the Icehouse at the moment, but you look like you're at home.
I'm at home because our office boardroom is a little bit echoey, so I thought this would be a nicer place to be, quieter and less distracting for me.
That's good. Normally I try and find somewhere quiet, but as normality comes, the space here is getting busier and busier. So I actually wangled one of these rooms. I don't know what the sound's going to sound like in here, so apologies to the marketing team if it's a bit rubbish, but hey. And so I guess, thinking about how things have changed for your clients, has there been more influx? Have you become busier as people want to have?
Yeah, we've had a bit of a mix. We went into lockdown having just won a project, which was exactly the sort of work we want to do, which was a digital art sort of piece, which was our IP, bringing it to life. And so we were kind of like, this is okay if this is going to get us through sort of the next couple of months, because there were a couple of clients that were affected a bit harder than others. Mm-hmm. But then soon after, kind of, I think a week into lockdown, that project got cancelled. Basically all those contracts were off. So that was a bit of there was no panic moment, but I actually looked at it as, what could we do maybe to work on some of our own projects that always get moves along, but very, very slowly. So we were interested in looking at that. And is that ping going to be annoying? Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's because mine just did it as well, but sorry, I think people watching don't
coming
mind.
Through my thing.
I don't think people really mind, to be honest. Yeah. A few weeks ago, I did one of these and I stopped it and I started it again. And then what we realised is actually people don't mind. It's just being a normal conversation. And
Are you just going to cut this out or leave all of this in?
Oh, maybe. I mean, we might leave it. I don't have that control, to be honest. So I'll let Michael and marketing team. If not,
everyone, I apologise, but I'm frantically trying to turn my phone off. So there we go.
Oh, don't worry. I mean, to be honest, he might. If we go, what sometimes we do is we do a 2-second pause, and then he can cut it from now. But now I say cut it from now, so now it would have to be now. I mean, we've just wasted 2 minutes of everyone's time watching this.
No, sorry. So what I was saying was, we lost this project, and we kind of looked at it and went, we could work on some of our own projects, stuff that we've been wanting to get off the ground, and we thought, let's focus on that. So I didn't really panic. However, within that same week, we had University of Auckland approach us. Mm-hmm. And wanting to do some digital content and digital products, and so we've been working on a really exciting project for them. So we were okay. We've ended up being okay. I'm looking for kind of the next few months and just trying to see what that's going to look like. I mean, our industry as it is always up and down. Mm. You never know what's happening in a couple of months' time. But I guess with the added stress of COVID, that's going to be even more unknown, so that's always been the case. But then I'm kind of thinking, well, is that going to pick up? Because something always comes in, I guess. Yeah. So there's a little bit of a risk there. You
never know, do you? It's funny because how we've worked, we've always been very face-to-face. So every one of our programs, the delivery, the growth side of the business has always been delivery face-to-face, and it's very much around tactile, it's around working, having conversations, and it's as much as the facilitations is around the peer-to-peer learning. But something that come out of COVID is that we had a smaller new program that we're about to launch, and now we've decided to create it and make it purely online and virtual. And that's kind of where this kind of conversation come, and the idea of this topic of this podcast. And when we were talking yesterday, I was talking about, digital footprint and all of these things. And you kind of corrected me and you said, well, really, it's about capability, isn't it? It's about being able to do this, have conversations on Zoom, have team meetings, and making sure, and that's what you do a bit with clients, right? So you go in and help them get prepared, I guess, or set up?
I guess there's two parts when people say, are you digitally ready? What does that look like? And I think the thing is, we break it into two parts. One is the digital capability thing that you're talking about, which I guess is kind of more linked to infrastructure, your tools, your resources, your IT part. And then the other side of it is digital presence, an online presence, and what does that look like? And I guess we're more on that side. We're in the marketing, storytelling side. So we wouldn't go in and, I mean, look, just there's knowledge that we have and we would share that with clients, but we wouldn't normally go in and kind of help you with your infrastructure setup. However, the projects that we work on, so for us, it's more about bringing your brand to life, your product to life. How do we get that story out there? How do we get your online presence, the right presence? How do we engage customers? And I guess through that, a lot of the tools that we use for clients would be all of the digital kind of tools. And so, that's kind of where I think a lot of people were looking to go, well, I've got two problems. One is I'm not digitally capable because we don't have the tools in place. The other is, what does our digital presence and online presence look like?
Has it made it, I mean, two sides to the next question is, one is will it make it hopefully easy for your business then that people have got more capability, being digitally capable and being online and being Teams and Zoom and all the Slack and things like that. So actually that's implemented. So when you go in there, you can just work on the other side of the business.
Yeah, I mean, there's, again, I think one thing is that being what we do in creative tech, we're always so far ahead. Kind of that's our thing. We started 17 years ago before digital agency was even a thing. And I guess the thing is, we've always been so far ahead. A lot of our jobs been education, and so with that education, it's been really interesting. I feel like everyone's just moved closer to where we are, like a couple of years within a very short space of time, just the understanding of what does it mean to be digitally capable and have an online presence. And so that really helps our business because, doing virtual reality and augmented reality, sometimes it feels so far here. People are like, that sounds cool, but we're not ready for it yet. And they still might not be ready for it yet, and it might not be right for them, but they're closer to thinking that way. Like, what can we do that's a bit interesting? So we've had a lot of conversations that have stemmed from that. I think one thing that was interesting though is that there was a lot of need to do things really quickly. Like, pace became really important. And I think the thing is that we've got to make sure that that we still take the right time to do some of this thing, put these things in place. So one of the things my accountant said to me, he's a business advisor / accountant, but he said to me very early on, it was before we went, it was the day that lockdown got announced, or the levels got announced, and he called me and he said, make sure that you keep playing to win, not just to survive. And I've literally had that through the whole thing, because I think it would have been really, really easy for us to start doing things that aren't, that we could do, but aren't necessarily what we strive to do in terms of long term. So we could have very easily gone into doing short-term fixes, small e-commerce sites, that sort of thing. But the point was to make sure that we focus on what we really want to do long term, and make sure that we don't fall into the short term mentality. And so I've shared that with a few clients, and that's been really interesting because it applies to their business as well. I mean, yes, there's a need to make sure you've got a short term strategy, but actually don't let that take over your long term. Like, if what you're doing now isn't going to be a long term thing, just review it and consider it. Does it need to be done?
Yeah.
Because if you think about it now, some of the things that people put in place 6 weeks ago are fully redundant, and so was it worth it? How was that time spent?
Yeah. And I think the more you assess, and I think a lot of business owners have done that, and when we've been speaking with our clients and future clients, this is when people reflect and go, okay, I need to sometimes invest in myself as an owner, or invest in different parts of the business. And there was a lot of time to reflect, if anything, probably too much time.
Oh, I wish we were, I mean, I went into lockdown and I had 3 things that I wanted to make sure we did. My first was to make sure my family was safe. My son's got a heart condition, congenital heart condition, and he's got a bit of asthma. So I was like, just need to make sure he's okay. And then the second thing was my method family, need to make sure they're okay. I didn't want anyone to be affected by this in terms of work. We wanted to make sure there was all this other stuff going on. We wanted to make sure that work was still a safe haven, that they still had a job, that they were getting paid, so really, really tried to make sure that was still going. And then the third was clients, extended method family, and making sure they were okay. So there was some, things we put in place. We offered push payments out for certain clients who we knew were going to struggle through it, and just making sure we were there to help them get through it. Yep. And actually I think that really helped us. One, we've got an amazing team, but it's just brought us even more closer together, yep. After this, which is amazing. One of the things we did, because I guess the thing is we saw, everyone going into this, and we were really well prepared to go digital. Like, our digital capability, we're on, all our files are on the cloud. Yep. We use Slack regularly. We use all these different tools that we already communicate that way in terms of project management. The thing we missed the most was the personal connections, but we were looking at it going, God, there are companies out there who just have no clue, who are going to go into this and go, what is Slack? Which video conferencing tool do we use? So one of the things we put in place really quickly were these little infographics that we did that was just, how do we make some of this reading simpler for people? I just found there was screeds and screeds of articles that people were reading, which video conferencing tool, and they'd go through all the details. So we just did some really simple infographics, visual, have a look at these options, and then the next week we rolled out, how do you keep engaged with your team? Here are some visual, clues and cues to kind of do that. And so that was really nice thing, because I think everyone kind of felt in the team like we were doing something to support, everyone else, rather than kind of look at it inwardly.
And you said yesterday when we had a quick chat, prepping for our chat today, around that missing the tactileness and seeing people. Like, I gave the example that I was coming into the office today. Normally I can do these from home, and being in my role, I can do a lot of it I do a lot of it on the road anyway, but I wanted to come in today because we've got a team meeting this afternoon, and the CEO said, look, if you can come in, please come in. We'll put some drinks on for people. Let's see everyone again. And I was like, I'm longing for that. I miss people. I miss just having a chat and a yarn. And I went to a bar on Saturday night. I've got 2 kids under 3, so I was very lucky to do that. But, but I miss that. And you were saying yesterday that as well as you all set up for it, we'll never get away from wanting to see people.
Well, and actually, I think that's one of the things that's come out of it. I'm an introvert at heart. I really love my time by myself or with my family. But at the same time, we're in the business of storytelling and human engagement and connecting with people. And a lot of these happen over the boardroom table or a bar leaner in the office. Where those ideas happen and you're talking to each other, and how much quicker some of those decisions are when you're there in the office together, or in the room together, and being able to just bounce things off each other instead of having to book a call and doing that. And so I think the thing is, it's made video conferencing a lot more acceptable for people and for clients, which is great. However, I think for our team, people were they couldn't wait to get back into the office. It was really interesting. I was like, you can work from home a little bit longer. We kind of went right down to, until we were in level 1, I was really easy about, look, let's just do whatever we're doing now. And I think the thing now is actually hard because we've got a couple of people who just work from home a few days a week, but just making sure you understand that they're working from home. Because I think the thing is, when everyone's working from home, you go, oh, everyone's in the same situation, so it's really easy. But when most of the team are back in the office, sometimes you forget that that person is still working, but they're just working from home.
Oh, totally, yeah. Oh, and I think that we've felt that a little bit. If you're in sales and there's no sales coming through and they're not visually there on the phone, you think, well, where is that person? But
yeah.
Trust is a big thing. I think there's been a lot more trust, but also trust can go a bit too far and people might push that. So as business owners,
I mean, we've been pretty open, through the business and through our time. But I think the thing is actually the thing that we found is that the trust has to be amongst the team as well. It can't just be top down. No. And so we've always had the trust in people to work, but when people don't see you in the office, I think other people go, well, hang on, are they working? Not even that they are working, but can I talk to them? Can I reach out to them? I want to chat to them about something. So I think what it's helped is let everyone else know that actually we can all have trust in each other, that you'll just get the job done. I mean, we're really lucky in that we've got an amazing team. Everyone there I have full trust in who've more than pulled their weight, through this. And so maybe we're lucky. I know I've heard other stories, but I haven't felt any of that with our team.
It depends what industry you're in, I guess. I mean, we're both in industries roles more than industry, but myself is where I can do it remotely. You guys, I imagine, can as well. It kind of brings me on to around that digital presence, and we're kind of industry agnostic. A lot of people go on our programs from any industry. We know good business, we don't know all about everybody's businesses. So there's be quite a few industries who will watch these podcasts. Is there some businesses who you think don't need a digital presence, or really everyone should? So, a construction worker in Timaru, should he have a really good digital presence to get more leads?
You'd have to look at every situation, but I guess the thing for me is everyone's got a story to tell. Yeah. And what we do is we help bring that story out. And so, a lot of times these days, your first touch point with someone, with a customer, is your digital and online presence. So what does that look like? There is also a lot of the face-to-face, but what happens afterwards? How do they follow up? So I think it's different levels of, rather than whether you need it or not. It might be that the likes of Fletcher in construction need some virtual reality training tools that get created. So they're at a certain level, whereas maybe a smaller construction company, they just need to make sure that if people come into their website, they understand their business, that they've got a presence. They might not need it because word of mouth is enough, and that's all the business they need. But what does that look like? What does their face look like? I guess, there's a lot now with your digital identity in terms of what you portray. Sometimes you don't actually meet someone face to face. So what does that look like? What does your presence look like? How can you be your genuine self online? And that goes to companies as well, I think.
Yeah. And do you think that size doesn't matter in the sense of business that needs to have that presence? Because, you know, you talk about Fletcher's, but you also talk to the smaller one. Is Method's clients quite vast from small?
Yeah, I mean, we do have a variety of clients. We do have, you know, a couple of people who are sort of business owners and operators. You know, one's a pharmaceutical product client, and their digital presence is really, really important because a lot of that information is online. And then we've got, you know, the likes of the larger clients, University of Auckland, real estate.co.nz, MyTQ, which is a health supplement, which has gone, you know, which has done amazing. But it's different levels of and how much you want to invest in that, you know. So it does come down to the levels of engagement and presence. But I think for most people, you'd have some sort of thing. And we've done augmented reality experiences to charities because it's a really great way to engage people with the story. And so that works really well for them. It may not work for a larger company of a certain, you know, doing a certain product.
Awesome. For people who don't know, can you tell us what augmented reality is?
Yeah, sure. So it's probably best done through a demonstration, but it's where you can bring content to life using a device such as a phone or tablet, and essentially brings that content to life through there. So it's augmenting your actual reality, but you can see reality around you. And that can be done either through what we call markers. So you've got an image as a marker and something comes out of that 3D if you hover your phone over it. Or we do location-based augmented reality. So we've done a really great walking tour for Ngāti Whātua Ōrākei, which is all location-based. So you have to be in a certain spot to have the experience appear. And so there's different ways you can do that. It's really interesting actually, because this is one of the things that we focused on through lockdown is we launched a new web augmented reality platform, which is quite new because up until now, augmented reality has been done through apps or best seen through an app. You have to download an app and then go through there, which, you know, how many apps has everyone got? And so through this, we launched an Easter campaign that brought web augmented reality to life. So you could scan Easter eggs and have a bunny story pop up, and we did like a little treasure hunt. So that was one of the things we did. We thought we really want to bring some joy to everyone. Everyone was in this really, you know, kind of depressed state. So what can we do to make sure that kids could still appreciate and enjoy Easter?
Wicked. I think I might have seen something like that, but it reminds me. So augmented. So I kind of knew what it was before, but the way I described it is that game that was around, like the Pokemon game.
Pokemon Go.
Pokemon Go, where you're running around, and you see, oh, there's one over there, and you run into a wall because you don't see it and things like that.
And augmented reality has been around for years, but Pokemon Go made it so much more, you know, people suddenly noticed it and recognized what it was. Up until then, I think there was a lot of just lack of knowledge around it.
No, great. Well, something we like to do at the end of the podcast is to get a bit about you and also find out what you're watching. So, but what if you have one food or your favorite food or drink, what would you say that would be?
Oh God. I don't know. I love to eat everything.
You can say lots. That's my answer.
Yeah, probably I just love to eat anything. I'm gonna, you know, like I love good Italian food, love good Indian food. I mean, literally put food in front of me and I'm pretty easy. Yeah.
Are you watching anything on Netflix or anything in the moment that you think, oh, people should watch that they might not watch?
Oh, we haven't had, to be honest, it's been so busy. I haven't had a lot of time, but we started watching, we've watched Ozark up until now. We're up to the latest series, trying to find time to watch that. It's a really awesome series. And there's a series called Dark that people might not be so familiar with, but it's a time traveling based series. It's a German series. So, but don't let that put you off. I think it's one of the best series that I've ever watched. And that's coming back. I think the third series is coming out in the next couple of weeks.
Oh, some
So
of those
I'm going to
European
have to
ones.
try and clear my night a little bit to watch.
Well, I don't know why. I think I might have to change those questions because, especially when I'm talking to a business owner who's got children, because when the hell do you have any time at all? It's a stupid question because as soon as you finish work, you go to sleep and then start again, and it goes all around. But
Well, and actually, I should say it's Paw Patrol or something right now. You know, yeah. We watched
Blippi.
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids the other day.
Oh, I'm gonna
Which
get
is
my.
actually, you know, like, so our son's, he's just turned 6, but actually, and we thought this is going to be really bad because it's so old, but they had real props in it rather than CG. And so rather than the CG dating, there were just these really cool props. It was actually quite good. It was quite fun.
I remember going to Universal Studios as a young boy and being in the Honey, I Shrunk the Kids kind of set thing, and there being the huge ant and stuff. But, yeah. Anyway, we've somewhat gone off the piece, as we said we would, but we did it right at the end of the podcast, so that's quite good. No, I really appreciate it. And so if anyone's interested in Method, reach out to us at Grow at the Icehouse, and we'll put you in touch. It's definitely something that I know is an unknown to people at the moment, but it is something that we're currently living in every single day, and we've got to be a bit more focused around it. So thanks so much for your time, and we really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
No, pleasure. Okay, thanks so much.
All right, see you.
Bye.